Hello students, welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. In this particular video, we are going to discuss about recently unveiled National Automated Fingerprinting Identification System, also called as NAFIS in the short, and how this NAFIS can be used for the quick resolution of crime in India. So first of all, let us try to understand why this particular issue is new, because recently the Union Home Minister Mr. Amit Shah has inaugurated the NAFIS system when the two-day National Security Strategies Conference or NSS conference was going on into the 2020 was going on in the New Delhi. And according to the Ministry of Home Affairs, NAFIS would basically help in the quick and easy disposal of cases by the help of a centralized database that is made up of fingerprints of all the people who are incarcerated into the jails or judicial system of India. And in April this year, the state of Madhya Pradesh became the first state in the country to identify a deceased person by using the information through the NAFIS. So it can be a game changer in the future as far as the identification of the person, identification of the citizens, as well as the solving the crimes are concerned. So let us try to understand what is NAFIS. So NAFIS is basically, as you have discussed, it has been set up by a Central Fingerprint Bureau, which is headquartered in New Delhi. And Central Fingerprint Bureau has got a lot of help from National Crime Records Bureau. So basically what we can say that it is a joint effort of NCRB and CFB that has led to development of this NAFIS system. Basically, it is a countrywide searchable database of crime and criminal related fingerprints, where all the people who are all the criminals who are basically entering the judicial system will have their fingerprint taken, and their data will be uploaded at the centralized level, and at the center level will have all the information from different states as well as the union territory. And in that sense, NAFIS will also act as a central information repository of the fingerprints data. Not only that, due to the facilities of uploading, tracing, and retrieving data from NAFIS, it will work on a 24/7 basis, and it will be very helpful for the police to inquire upon the overall record of the criminals or to identify any criminals or people who have been deceased. So these are the main objectives or main benefits of the NAFIS. So how will basically it work? So once the fingerprint has been taken from the culprits, they will be assigned a unique 10-digit national fingerprint number or NFN in the short. This 10-digit national fingerprint number have first two digits that will represent the given state in which the criminal has been nabbed and incarcerated. And once these unique 10-digit NFN is collected at a very large level, in that case it will use to the person's lifetime, and all the different crimes registered under different FIRs will be linked together. For example, if any criminal is today, he has been nabbed for certain cases, suppose that for the theft of any object, in that case his fingerprint will be taken and his fingerprint will be assigned a number, and based on the identification between fingerprints and the people, then this number can all time used by the police and investigation agencies even in the future if the criminal is nabbed, and all different FIR will be linked together. And if someone basically, if police or investigation agency want to look at the whole track record of that particular criminal, then they'll have all the information at their disposal at a very quick time. Right now, what happens that if someone is nabbed and if police want to check the record that he has been involved in criminal activities before or not, then they have to ask from different police stations where he used to live, or where he used to work, or where he has conducted the crime. So that was a very long and time taking process. That time that is required, police agencies and investigation agencies will be minimized to a significant extent by using of NAFIS. Not only that, the data of NAFIS will be linked in the back end by another system, that is CCTNS, that stand for Crime and Criminal Tracking Network and Systems databases. And by the interoperability of data or seamless transfer of data, it will be the whole NAFIS and CCTNS system together will make the investigation process much more easier for the police department. Now, NAFIS is not the first time that such steps have been taken or such project has been undertaken by the government of India. Before also, if we look at in year 1986, upon the recommendation of National Police Commission, another such we can say system was designed, that is called as Fingerprint Analysis and Criminal Tracing System. This system has underwent a lot of updates with changing times and with changing years, and the most recent upgrade, that is called as FACTS 5.0 upgrade, happened in 2007. However, there has been several deficiencies in this fact system, and that is why in its report that is published by National Criminal Record Bureau in year 2018, it has said that facts has outlived its self life, and that is when the design of NAFIS was basically began. Now we know that the whole system or NAFIS system is basically nothing but identification of people on the basis of the data of fingerprints. So let us try to understand a brief history of fingerprinting not only in India but also in the world. So it was basically the German anatomist Johann Mayer who in the year 1788 have first of all observed that all different individual or different individuals have uniqueness as far as their fingerprints are concerned. This was something a revolutionary kind of understanding at that time, and a lot of scientists tried to look at that whether this information is correct or not. Or the most important contribution in this regard was made by a Scottish doctor called as Henry Ford. Henry Ford basically confirmed the observation of Johann Mayer by going through detailed studies, by observing a lot of different fingerprints and analyzing it, and finally said that yes, the Johann Mayer's observation regarding uniqueness of fingerprints of individuals are quite correct. As far as the India is concerned, here the fingerprinting began with the initiative of the William Herschel. So basically, in initial time period, when the fingerprinting was introduced in India, it was not introduced as a crime fighting tool, but the main objective of using fingerprint was for administrative purposes. And for example, the British colonial officers, they used to record the fingerprints of different people mainly to ensure that the actual beneficiaries are getting benefits of the government programs such as pensions, and also it can be useful if there are sale of land or land deeds are being signed in such events. The administrative purposes basically the fingerprinting was utilized. Further, after mid 1800s onward, fingerprinting was also being used to reduce fraud and forgeries in government documents or in transaction of various kinds, including transaction of lands as well. Now we have tried to, if you try to understand that how British government began fingerprinting as a crime fighting tool. So the beginning we can understand is the British policy of classifying certain tribes of India as a criminal tribes. And the main reason why these tribes were classified as criminal tribes, because the British anthropologists and the officers believe that these tribes or the members of these tribes are professional criminals, and they have some genetic tendencies or genetic proclivity toward conducting certain types of crime. And that is when initially there was anthropometry that was used to identify these tribes and the tribal members, because the main difficulty that the British officials were facing, that despite classifying certain people as a member of criminal tribes, they could not identify them separately from a normal criminal. And that is why initially they did the anthropometric survey, where we have the physical characteristics of a person is recorded. But later on, it was found that it is very much difficult to identify person on this basis, and thus British officials replaced the anthropometric surveying anthropometric data with the fingerprinting system, as each individual has a unique fingerprints. After that, it was Bengal police who, in the year 1897, created a fingerprint records which replaced the use of anthropometric measurements. Now we have to understand here that the introduction of fingerprinting was done in India before it was basically introduced in the England or UK in year 1901. So basically 4 years before it was introduced in UK, fingerprinting was introduced in India itself. In the Calcutta, world's first fingerprint bureau was established during British rule, also to ensure that they have sufficient collection of fingerprint data. And for this particular task, the Inspector General of Bengal, Edward Henry, he has actually recruited two Indian sub-inspector. One was Azizul Haq and the second was H.C. Bose. And these two sub-inspector basically played a very important role and made a stellar contribution in indexation of the fingerprinting record in the judicial system of India. So what we can say in conclusion, that despite the stellar contribution made by both Sub-Inspector Azizul Haq and H.C. Bose, the IG of Bengal, Edward Henry, when he finally submitted his Henry system of classification in England in 1901, he declined to acknowledge the crucial contribution of his Indian subordinates, and he said that he is the only person responsible for making such kind of fingerprinting system. And finally, a fingerprint bureau was also established in Scotland Yard, as we discussed 4 years after it was established in this city of Calcutta. Then Almost 24 years later, finally, in 1925, Henry admitted that the invaluable efforts have been made by both Huck and Bose, the sub-inspector, Indian sub-inspector, to the system of fingerprint classification, and to recognize their effort, finally, the colonial state bestowed these two sub-inspectors with the titles of Khan Bahadur as well as the Rai Bahadur. So that is all about the brief history of fingerprinting and the current system of fingerprinting classification in India. I hope you understood about this topic very well. Thank you very much.